5 on Your Side at 10 starts now.
Tonight, preparations for the Bommarito 500 kick into gear.
It's the opportunity everybody's been looking for.
See how crews are working to fight the forecast.
Dodging the downpours, some flooding around Edwardsville and Glen Carbon. That's winding down this evening. Most of Father's Day weekend will feature dry tide. I'm tracking where the exceptions to that may be.
Our top story, helping storm survivors when they need it most.
We know as realtors the value of home.
The statewide effort helping homeowners and renters keep a roof over their heads. Right now, parts of the area are dealing with heavy showers as the rain works its way out of the bi-state. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. Tonight's storms have sparked a flash flood warning for parts of Madison County. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell's here with the latest on the warning. And what are our rain chances going forward, Scott?
Well, the rain chances will be going down as we go into the weekend. That's the good news. But we certainly did see some downpours today. You saw that down 44 southwest of St. Louis. Within the last hour or so, this area near Edwardsville, about an inch and 3/4, and then as soon as the flash flood warning was issued, the thunderstorms started dying off. And so you still have the flash flood warning. We're still draining some water. There is still some rain in this area, not nearly as heavy. However, we may be looking at a situation where you're going to get some extra ponding here, going out the Page Avenue extension towards St. Charles, Creve Coeur Park, 270, out through Maryland Heights, and in North St. Louis County. This area kind of filling in around the upper low that is right now moving across the region, and that's about the heaviest of it. It's not severe, but it's putting down some heavy rainfall right now. That'll continue for just a little bit longer. That's over in Edwardsville at the moment. Still a bit of rain, but you can see we're not dealing with flooding issues there at the moment. So the showers overall will be weakening overnight. Again, maybe for the next hour or two, we'll watch that area out of parts of northwest and western St. Louis County. Limited weekend rain chances. Kelly, that's the good news. The rain chances do drop off this weekend. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes.
Today marks 4 weeks since a tornado devastated North St. Louis. Tonight, up to $250,000 is being made available for people in damaged homes. This as a music benefit fundraiser tomorrow will give people yet another way to help storm survivors. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon takes a closer look.
When I had you.
They say a good melody can soothe the soul.
It's been just so much going on, trauma, PTSD coming from this, but we all know that when we get together and have some music, everything just feels right.
We're distant lovers, that's for sure. So tell me.
It's why local musician Dakota Pagan will join other entertainers for this, the United in Rhythm Charity Affair, a night of food, music, and comedy, all to benefit tornado recovery. It's Saturday evening at the 21C Museum Hotel downtown.
We're raising funds for 5 on-the-ground organizations who have been out in the community since the tornado have touched down. We want to replenish all of their efforts and unrestricted funds.
So the 5 organizations that we picked, they have to in turn pick one organization to donate a portion of their proceeds. So in actuality, we're helping 10 instead of 5.
It comes as even more relief efforts are pouring in.
To date, we've already had nearly 1,000 applications, so we know the need is there.
The Missouri Realtors is offering up to $1,000 to eligible homeowners and renters who are either displaced because of the storm or who need help paying the mortgage or rent.
For people who are renters or we're leasing a property that they've been displaced, we're helping with any temporary housing costs, so hotel receipts, things of that nature, if they had to sign a new lease somewhere else.
Renewed efforts to help St. Louis heal and come out on top. Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
Requests for housing assistance through the Missouri Realtors will be accepted through next month. We have placed information on how to apply on KSDK.com, along with details on supporting tomorrow's benefit concert. Tonight, Granite City is getting some help after getting hit hard by last month's tornado. Prather Elementary lost the roof of its gym and the high school's football scoreboard was damaged. Phillips 66 is donating $50,000 to help the district with repairs. The company is a major employer in the area and many of its workers live in Granite City. New tonight, the son of one of the victims in a quadruple homicide is facing charges for tampering with evidence at the scene. 4 people were found shot to death at an apartment on Carondelet last month. 43-year-old Wendell Miller faces charges for allegedly placing guns into the hands of 3 of the victims. Court documents also say he removed surveillance footage and tried to clean up the scene by throwing away shell casings. Police are still investigating. Tonight, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is on the lookout for a man wanted for allegedly abusing 2 children and the family's puppy. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend has more on the search, and we want to warn you, some of the details are disturbing.
People who live in this High Ridge subdivision are stunned to hear right now sheriff's deputies with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office are looking for one of their neighbors. The suspect is 24-year-old Mason Williams. According to court papers, Williams repeatedly beat his girlfriend's 5-year-old son with his hands, nearly suffocated the couple's 2-year-old daughter, and threw the family's 2-month-old puppy into a kitchen table. Joe Wegeman and his wife have lived in the area for 30 years.
I mean, I was shocked. When we heard this, it's like, wow.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors, so, it's too bad. It's really too bad. Makes me very sad.
The documents further reveal a camera mounted in a bedroom inside the family's home in High Ridge captured the abuse on video over a 2-week period starting April 16th. Prosecutors charged Williams with 12 counts of child abuse. Right now, investigators have not determined a motive for the alleged abuse.
Well, it's heartbreaking. I mean, just that kind of severity goes on in a household.
So at this point, sheriff's deputies are still looking for Mason Williams. Meantime, I talked to the children's mother, and she tells me right now she did not want to talk on camera because this is an ongoing investigation. Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And the children were taken to a hospital, examined, and neither suffered serious physical injuries. Investigators ask anyone who sees Williams to call 911. Developing tonight, police have identified the 19-year-old found dead at the scene of a multi-car crash in Delwood. Officers say LaFranz Wilson Jr. died at the scene on West Florissant Avenue and Chambers Road Tuesday. Shots were fired at the scene. Police found more than 20 shell casings and 3 guns there. Police arrested a 23-year-old man. No word on any charges. The Madison County Sheriff's Office is looking for a woman who posed as an Ameren worker to rob people. Christina Costello is facing 2 burglary charges after multiple homes were robbed in East Alton and Collinsville. Police say she would distract the homeowner by saying she needed to check the power lines while a man snuck in and stole valuable items. Police are still working to identify the accomplice. Police tonight are investigating a rising crime trend across St. Louis City. Police say they have seen an uptick in license plate and tag thefts. They've already gotten more than 450 calls relating to the crime this year and got more than 800 last year. Security professionals say they are likely used to hide a suspect's identity from license plate readers. SLMPD's best advice is to report the crime immediately.
Oftentimes, criminals will use stolen license plates to get ahead of a crime spree. So it's very important, if you do experience something like this, that you call the police to have that reported stolen as soon as possible.
For more details on prevention tips, head to KSDK.com and go to the As Seen on TV section. Developing tonight, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe named the transition director for the state's takeover of the St. Louis Police Department. The governor appointed Derek Winters to oversee the implementation of the citizen-led board of police commissioners. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy already spoke with Winters and says he looks forward to working together. And Mayor Kara Spencer also released a statement on the appointment today saying, in part, while the governor and I disagree on the issue on local control, we share the common goal of a successful SLMPD, and I look forward to meeting with Mr. Winters in the near future, end quote. If you heard the sound of engines revving and music blasting tonight, you must already know it's officially the Bommarito 500 weekend. Worldwide Technology Raceway held a celebration tonight ahead of the race on Sunday. New tonight, Andy Kroll heard from some of the major players prepping for the thousands of fans.
As the drivers get ready to start their engines at Worldwide Technology Raceway, it was Free Friday in Madison, Illinois.
We're basically opening it up for the fans to come in, visit the people in the garages, see the teams, talk to the drivers that are still floating around. We open up the track for a track walk so the fans can get out and walk around the racetrack, which is kind of unusual, and it's be like the Cardinals saying, come on down and walk the bases.
And while Friday is the start of this racing bonanza, it's all going to come down to Sunday on this 1.25-mile oval. And if the weather doesn't become a major factor, there's something extra special about this year. It'll be the first time that there's a race at night on this track since 2019.
We have jet dryers from all over the country that'll be used. It's basically a jet engine on a trailer that's broadcasting heat onto the racetrack.
Chris Blair, the track's executive VP and general manager, says much like the pit crews, they're prepared.
If we just get a little light mist, we can go out and hit it in just a few minutes and be back and running.
Close to 30,000 fans are expected on Father's Day from all over the globe.
We've got world-class racing here. Okay, you've got NHRA, you've got NASCAR, you got Xfinity, and now you got IndyCar. And this is a privately held track. This is not a corporate track.
That same track had 676 passes and 22 lead changes last year. Nearly half the field led the 260-lap race at some point. Blair says that's practically unheard of.
If you're sitting in the stands, you don't know where to look because there's so much action going on.
Adding excitement for this Sunday's 27 drivers from about 9 different countries.
It's a challenging track because 1 and 2 are tight, 3 and 4 can go wide open. So I understand it's a difficult track to set up the car.
Annie Crawl, 5 on your side.
The green flag will go up around 7:15 p.m. on Father's Day, with a checkered flag coming down about 2 hours later, crowning a new champ. A sewer situation. Local and federal leaders come together to fix the sewers in Cahokia Heights.
We have an aging infrastructure.
The new project hoping to keep problems from flooding in. Eyes in the sky. More law enforcement agencies start to use drones. We verify if police have the right for flights.
Still no 90-degree day yet this year. When that changes, and why your Father's Day weekend is looking better with each passing hour.
Developing tonight, Israel launched a massive attack against Iran. Israel launched missiles against Iran's nuclear program and residential areas. 3 Iranian military leaders were killed in the attack. Iran launched a retaliatory missile attack against the country hours later. The scope of the damage is still unclear. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations defended the strike to the UN today.
The danger we confronted last night was of a different magnitude. A surprise attack with a nuclear strike, which Iran was preparing for, would have been terminal. Israel could not and would not wait for that moment to arrive.
President Trump posted on social media today saying Iran should agree to a nuclear deal to stop the fighting. Tonight, former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. A jury found Madigan guilty on federal corruption charges in February. Prosecutors say he used his position to help utility company ComEd in exchange for political favors. He also faces a $2.5 million fine. Today, Senator Dick Durbin joined local leaders in Cahokia Heights to launch a major sewer repair project. It is meant to tackle decades of flooding and backup issues in the community. This first phase of the project relied mainly on federal funds. With 2 more phases to go, Durbin says he is fighting to make sure this project isn't forgotten as the Trump administration continues to make spending cuts.
Here's the good news. We're committed to get this done. We promised people we're going to get it done. And as I tried to say earlier, there have been a lot of broken promises in the past. I don't think that's going to happen here.
Durbin is not seeking re-election in 2026. He's served in the Senate for nearly 30 years. Drones on patrol. The amount of law enforcement agencies using drones is rapidly increasing. One viewer wanted to know, what are the legal limitations to these eyes in the sky? 5 on your sides and Allred verifies.
Maryland Heights PD posted that they're using drones to catch drivers ignoring stop signs, issuing multiple tickets in under an hour. One 5 on your side viewer asked the Verify team, is it true Missouri law limits police use of drones? Let's verify. Our sources, Lieutenant Eric Brown, Missouri Highway Patrol, and Richard Broughton, professor of law at University of Detroit Mercy. Lieutenant Brown told the Verified team Missouri currently has no laws restricting or regulating law enforcement's use of drones. The Verified team found multiple proposed bills by state lawmakers wanting to limit use, but none have passed. You may be wondering, what about at the federal level? Professor Broughton says the Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches, but it doesn't apply to routine traffic enforcement in public.
The mere fact of traveling on the public highways and police engaging in speed enforcement is not going to implicate a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Broughton says when it comes to drones in areas where there is an expectation of privacy, drones in your Fourth Amendment rights are still murky because lower courts have sided both ways, and the highest court has yet to weigh in.
The Supreme Court just hasn't decided a drone case yet. Those cases, I think, are coming at some point in the future, but we may be a few years out before we see that.
We can verify false. Missouri law does not limit police use of drones. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on your side.
Illinois law does restrict drone uses by law enforcement, but they must have a warrant. Drones can also be used to counter a terrorist attack, prevent harm to life, or to prevent the imminent escape of a suspect. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell's here with the weather impact forecast, and we still have rain coming down pretty hard in some areas.
In some spots, it's still pouring. You know, we have this upper level system. The only good thing we have to share about this upper level system is it's moving a little bit faster, which means, Kelly, our weekend is going to be a bit drier for most of us. That upper level system's almost on top of St. Louis right now. You have showers and rumbles of thunder out ahead of it that are moving out of the south. Behind it, they're moving out of the north, and we're right in that spot where the system's going by. There's still that flash flood warning over here in Madison County, but the water seems to have drained. We haven't heard of any big problems there, but now we're watching this area on the north side of this upper level system. It's really creating some very heavy rainfall here that's spreading along 270, going out of Maryland Heights, going out of Creve Coeur, heading back over towards the Harvester area here. So, you know, Creve Coeur Lake back up here towards the Page Avenue extension, even in the valley, it is a drenching rain right now. Fortunately, that should keep moving, and as long as it does, it means we wouldn't have significant flooding issues. But as you see, traffic here in the valley, look, everybody's got their flashers on, going slow right now. It's raining that hard in the valley at the moment. Here's what's going on with that tonight. It kind of fizzles out. We typically see this trend that during the overnight hours, it weakens. And then tomorrow morning, we may still have a few lingering showers off to the east of St. Louis and east and southeast of town. There is a chance you'll see a scattered shower or thunderstorm tomorrow. For City's SC match against LA Galaxy at 3:30 tomorrow, probably more clouds than anything else and low to mid 80s and still muggy. But because this upper level system keeps moving, your Father's Day is going to be a bit brighter and the chances of rain even lower, only about 10 to 15% for a rain chance here on Sunday. And we're back into the mid and upper 80s for highs. We will watch thunderstorms as they start to develop out here across parts of Kansas, Nebraska into Iowa. There are some signals that something may try to get going down here in the Ozarks as we head into late Sunday night, early on Monday. And so we have increased the chances for rain on Monday. Last check, Lambert was at 1/1600ths of an inch of rain. We've upped that a little bit since it's pouring at the airport right now. 80 was the high, still 75, still muggy. And did you see that today? A funnel. Yeah. We had funnel clouds out of those storms. Weren't severe. Those are like gentle breeze funnel clouds. They're not that bad, but it does make for an interesting sight, and it does freak a lot of folks out. But, you know, that's why we're here to calm you down. No big threats with that other than the rain. And tomorrow, all of our threats are kind of easing and pushing away from St. Louis. Father's Day looks great. We'll watch Monday. Could end up being a day like today. And then we'll watch sometime Wednesday. Some bigger thunderstorms possible then. Yeah.
Okay, well, at least fathers can get the grill fired up.
Yes.
And not get
Yes, because we have a ban on oven. You know, it's close to 90. We can't fire up the oven.
Exactly. All right, Scott. Here's Corey Miller with sports.
Well, the Cardinals aim to finally break their losing streak. The Bommarito 500 has drivers fired up for a night race, and City SC's captain has some strong support for his new head coach. Sports is up after the break. Nothing much has been working for the Cardinals as of late. During their 5-game losing streak, they've been outscored 33-18. It is still June, but you cannot let a streak spiral. They hope to finally break it tonight in Milwaukee. Eric Fetty was the man tasked with stopping the streak tonight on the mound against the Brewers. He got some help from his defense. Look at this barehanded play from Mason Wynn. The snag, the throw, doesn't get much better than that. Let's take a look at it again. Man, he's good. Cardinals down 1-0, but they responded in the fifth. Nolan Arenado sends a bullet to left. That scores Alec Burleson. Sends Nolan into second with a swim move slide. 1-1 game. Brewers took the lead on a sac fly in the sixth and then extended it with this play. Jackson Churio just safe at home. Milwaukee leads 3-1. Ninth inning, down to their last strike. Victor Scott makes it a one-run ball game with that single, and then he goes on and steals second. Cardinals have a chance, but that's as close as they would get. Lars Nootbaar strikes out as the Brewers win 3-2. The losing streak now swells to 6 for St. Louis.
It's a tough stretch. We had a really good stretch, and now we're learning some things, and we got to find a way through it. It sucks, don't get me wrong, but there's been some good conversations that have come out of it, and we'll be better for it.
The rain can cameo this weekend in St. Louis as long as it stays away from Madison, Illinois. There's racing to be done at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and this Bommarito 500 should be a dandy. For the season, Alex Palou has been the story. He's won 5 of 7 races. For the track, Joseph Newgarden is the story. He's won 4 out of the last 5 IndyCar races here. There's another wrinkle as well. This year, the Bommarito 500 is a night race. That means a primetime showing for our town on the IndyCar stage. Everyone is fired up to race under the lights.
It's kind of like Hollywood comes to town. When you turn on the lights here and you're racing in the evening, it's spectacular.
The coolest, and we're going to do it on Sunday night. We've never had an IndyCar race on prime time, so hopefully we'll give everybody a fantastic entertainment on Sunday. I love racing here. I think it produces some of the best IndyCar racing in the last few years.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Racing on Sunday, soccer on Saturday. City SC is back at Energizer Park tomorrow afternoon for a game against the Galaxy. LA is the only team under City in the standings and one of just 3 wins the club has so far this season. We've talked about the shift in mindset since David Chrisley took over as head coach, but let's hear about it directly from the captain himself.
Feels like a new start. Obviously, we are the reason why it didn't work out before these 2 weeks, and now I think we can see that the changes, that the change of the game style, the game play that we want to like achieve on the field is like fits the team. It feels fresh, and yeah, I have to say it was. I love that Lutz took the decision and made the decision to give someone the chance that's already in the club.
Round 2 of the U.S. Open. Here is the shot of the day. I think you know how it's going to finish if I'm showing it to you. Victor Perez with only the 2nd ace in Oakmont U.S. Open history. Perez has won over. Victor Hovland is in striking distance. This chip-in helped him get to 1 under for the tournament. That's good for 3rd at the moment. Here's the leader after 2 rounds. Sam Burns. He shot a 65 today and sits at 3 under heading into the weekend. A shot up on J.J. Spawn. Lots of big names did not make the cut, like Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, and Wyndham Clark. And
those are big names that didn't make it.
It's tough.
Yes, it's humbling. Yes, thanks, Corey. Well, coming up, how one radio station helped Cottleville put on a rocking celebration. Cottleville turned into Caseyville for the day. The radio station hosted an early Flag Day celebration packed with fan faves, including vintage decor, signed guitars and posters, a Casey-themed menu, and plenty of merch, old and new. Flag Day is observed every year on June 14th. The U.S. Coast Guard Sector Upper Mississippi River has a new commanding officer. Captain Brandy Parker officially took over from Captain Andrew Bender, who is retiring. Today's change of command ceremony was held at the Hyatt Regency downtown. The sector is based in St. Louis. Okay, give us a final forecast as we head into the weekend.
I want you to see the radar because some of us are getting downpours. It's raining at the rate of like 2.5 to 3 inches an hour, which means when this storm is over you, as it is near Harvester and up, towards the Creve Coeur Park and Creve Coeur Lake, it sits there for 15 or 20 minutes and you've already got, 6/7 of an inch of rain. So the creeks are going to come up pretty quickly, but it's moving and it should fade, and tomorrow's a drier day.
Thanks so much for joining us. We're always streaming on 5 Plus. Be sure to watch Today in St. Louis at 6 a.m. tomorrow.